All right. Now I can see people joining in. Okay, let's just wait for everybody to join in and then we can begin. Hello everyone, good morning. I hope I'm audible to everybody. It's good to see you guys. We'll be starting off in a few seconds. Alright, so there are a lot of people joining in. It's good to see everybody back. Wow, that's nice. So many people joining in. Hello and welcome everyone. I hope I'm audible to you guys. Perfect. Hey guys, my name is Rohit and I am basically the Communications and Marketing Manager for USPL. So we're starting this again. Something that we used to do earlier, but this time around we're doing it in a different format. It's something called Let's Talk Business, where we're going to be talking to two guests from our business owner every episode, and we're talking about various. We're going to be talking about various things that we can about the business, about mentality, about all the things that affect and can help the people in the business to grow. So yeah, welcome to the first episode of Let's Talk Business. It's great to see you guys. It's great to be back live after so many months where we had taken a break and we moved on to some few other things as well. But yeah, this feels familiar. This feels great. So let's just start off. So today we have two very well known and very popular, influential and owners of business heads with us. One of them is somebody who has been is the founding pillar of the business. He is somebody who is an example or a picture of perseverance, of hard work. He's built a very large organization, and he is somebody who is an inspiration to a lot of people. I'm talking about none other than organizational head of Pioneer Organization, Mr. Kishore Tarachandani. We also have with us another person who is been a role model to a lot of people. He's also another person who is a example of hard work, determination, perseverance, of sticking to the business, of being successful. And that is Mr. Abhishek Verma, who is Mr. Abhishek Verma, who is the king of Cosmo. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah. So he is Mr. Abhishek Verma, who is the business head for Cosmos organization. So before, so let's bring on and yeah. By the way, what we're going to be talking about today is how is your leadership enhancing your people's mentality and the integration, integrity and mentality basically. So let's bring on a guest if they're here. Let's see.
Hey.
Good morning, Kishore. Good morning.
Morning.
Abhishek.
Hi, Rohit. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Thank you so much, Rohit.
All right. It's great to have you guys on the very first episode of Let's Talk Business. I'm very excited to listen to what you guys have to say about the topic that we're discussing today. So without any further ado, let's why don't you start about the topic that is how do you is your leadership enhancing your people's mentality and integrity?
Sure. Thanks, Rohit. Morning, everybody. Morning, India. Morning, everybody who's attending the call live on Instagram today. We have a very interesting topic, something which is very, very close to my heart, I would say, because being in the business now for 23 years. Am I audible, Rohit? Is everybody, can you
Yes, you are. Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, and everybody can hear me clearly. So being in the business for 23 years, and again, somebody who I'm, associated with now on a regular basis is one of our newest owners who's been in the business for about 5 years now. 4 years.
5 years.
4.5, 5 years. Oh, yeah. I forgot the pandemic.
Yeah.
I forgot the lockdown. That is skipped altogether. But, the way I look at this whole thing of how a leadership enhances people's mentality and integrity towards the business, and it is such a beautiful topic, I would say, when Rohit came up with this whole thing, and I was like, that is so well connected to what we do in this business, how we, regulate ourselves in this business over the years, okay, and especially, when you start in this company or anything in that matter, I don't think it's just about this business. It's about a lot of places where you work, where you start from the basics, right? And those initial years when you're really working, setting up your fundamentals, setting up your basics right, all that has a lot of effect on everything that you're going to do in the future. And especially a business like ours, when it comes to the way we start in the company, how it's more about organic growth. It's more about how you start from the basics of sales and marketing and advertising and going out and dealing with people, dealing with different market segments, people from different strata of the society, like how this whole business starts from the sales and marketing aspect, which obviously is the most important aspect for any company. It's the revenue generation that happens, and how over a period of time from revenue generation, if you're ambitious, you get in a position of revenue management where you kind of run the whole portfolio. You know what I mean? You kind of, if you're somebody who's really wanting to get into that position, you work towards becoming a business head and start running a portfolio. But it's about what you do when you start in the company. The whole organic growth policy that we have in our business, and how the business shapes you and trains you in every aspect, right from the sales and marketing to team training, team development, team management, office management, how you deal with the different customers or the clients that you handle. It just depends on what client portfolio you start with, and then now the business is so big that people get an opportunity to work with different portfolios, right? So I think when you talk about the mentality and integrity of somebody, I genuinely believe that your integrity to the business is directly proportionate to your mentality, to your mindset, all right? And why do I say that? That people's motivation, people's enthusiasm, people's excitement to go out and work, go out and create something, it is to do with what drives them. What's their mindset? What is that they're thinking on a day-to-day basis? And that results into their actions, that results into their integrity, again, I would say, towards what they do, their sincerity, their regularity, their punctuality. Everything that they do is to do with their mentality. It's to do with their mindset. And I think that is something which starts when we start from the basics as a business associate. And everything that you do in every aspect, whether you're a business associate or a trainer or a leader, crew leader, executive crew leader, all that eventually results into how you're going to go ahead and build a great career for yourself. All right? So it is your mindset, your mentality on the field, which usually is kind of transformed into you or injected into you from your trainer, leader, or your owner. It is transcended into you from them. And when you're out there on the field, dealing with people, talking to people, training people, developing a team, building a team, dealing with different kind of customers and everything that you go through, that results into you becoming the person, you know what I mean, based on the foundation that you've set for yourself. So I feel it's a lot to do with your, the whole organically, how we get, start in the business and how we organically get promoted.
Yeah.
What do you have to say, Abhishek?
I totally agree with you, Kishore, what you are talking about or as an organic growth. But also, somewhere I have listened about one thing, which is like your first 7 years, like of human life, first 7 years, it's very crucial, okay, because whatever you're going to learn, whatever you're going to understand, you're going to implement to the rest of your life. Same as a BA, as a business associate or whatever, initially starting your business or you're learning a lot of things. Your 1.5, 2 years are very crucial, okay, when you're learning, okay, and it's all about implementation. As an owner also, your initial 3, 4 years, 5 years, like once the newly owner promoted, right, that's are very crucial, okay, because whatever you're learning a good things, okay, from the leaders, that is what you're going to respond, okay, and if you're learning something which is bad, obviously you're going to respond like that. So that's how the leadership work over there also, okay, initially, the crucial thing, whatever the things people are learning, they're going to implement it.
I agree, absolutely. And I think you rightly said, and that's such a beautiful thing what you said. It's like the first 7 years of your life, sets you up in a lot of ways for the rest of your life, I would say. Because your first 7 years are your formative years.
Correct.
It's the habits that you pick up, the values that you pick up, the discipline, you know what I mean? Because when you're an infant, and when you're a child and you're growing up, your influence, because of your family, your relatives, your upbringing, in your family, all that really makes a big difference. Absolutely. And then I think, when obviously 7 years is not the only thing, but those are the formative years, and that's why it kind of sets the foundation. All right. But then as we progress, as you grow, you get exposed, from a junior, or whatever, your school, primary to a secondary to higher secondary, and then you get into college, you get a lot of exposure. You get a lot of exposure, and then that exposure also helps you to define yourself.
Correct. That reminds me, one of my, younger days when I was very young in the school, and even everyone, I think everyone can relate with that. When we are going to the school, teacher used to say, okay, always sit on the first bench.
Correct.
Right. They don't want us to sit on the back bench.
Absolutely.
Right? As I'm a backbencher. Okay.
Me too.
So as I'm a backbencher, but usually what happens, why they don't want? Because the people you're associated with. Okay. That is very important. Okay. Like I still remember when Tony, he is talking about, show me your 5 friends, I'll tell you who you are.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that's really important, like whom you're associating with. Okay. So I think that's already crucial. This is a time which we have to understand to whom we have to hang out. Okay. Not only in a company, not only in the friends. Okay. You also need to see in your family also. Okay. Whom you are hanging out, who you are talking about. Right. And that's create a really great results on your performance also.
I agree. Absolutely. And I think it's like who you hang out with, the exposure that you get.
Correct.
And then I think we all are, in today's time of smartphones and, the kind of exposure that we have got from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
I think we all have got enough exposure, but the exposure also basically is to do with whether that exposure leads you to doing something wrong or that exposure educates you to go out and do the right things for yourself, for your career, for your people, for your family. You know what I mean? All that eventually matters a lot because who do you associate yourself with? What examples you pick up? Like I still remember in 1998 when I joined the business and Tony Fernandez, my mentor, my leader who recruited me, and at that time, obviously, I didn't understand what is leadership, what is mentoring or any of that sort. But, I got connected with Tony Fernandez because he talked about what we're going to create in the country. He talked about how we're going to build a business in India. He talked about how we're going to be trained in every area and every department in the business. You know what I mean? And that hooked me on. And his punctuality in the business, his basically time that he gave for the business, the way he trained me on the field, the example that he set for me, all that, you know what I mean, in those initial days played a very important role, and I think it's a lot to do with, 23 years is a long time, for somebody to be in the same business and the same industry. People get bored, or people basically get lethargic, frustrated at times. They keep complaining about it. But I am still excited, and I don't have to say that. I think the enthusiasm is shown from the fact that I still love what I do. I enjoy my people. I still love to go on the field. And not that basically I only like the field or don't like the field. It is something that helped us to build our base, build our foundation. So when I still go and talk to people today, talk to customers today, deal with different clients, it's so exciting. It gives me that kick to go out there and talk to people when we close the deal, when we build that relationship, and when you show that customer that you genuinely care.
Right.
And as an organization head, it doesn't really matter. For me, I think leadership is without title.
True.
It's not about your title as a BA or a trainer or a leader or owner, org head. Whatever your position is,
right.
Whatever your title is, is it the title that will tell you whether you should be a leader or whether doing the right thing, all right, is leadership?
Correct.
You know what I mean? I don't think a title will tell you, oh, you're a leader now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now you have to do the right thing. Now you have to set the example. But I think whether you're a BA or any position that you acquire in the company, I think it's just about how you work religiously.
Right.
Like for me, my HR is a leader in her own area. My admin is a leader. My office boy is a leader if he's doing the right thing. You know what I mean? It's not about his office boy title meaning he's doing something low or it's not dignity. I think it's just about doing the right thing. And that's very important. So when you're a BA, for example, you're expected to go out, talk to people.
Correct.
With a smile, with enthusiasm, excitement. Deal with different kind of situations. You will be trained for it. But you got to give it your best shot. It doesn't matter what result you create, but I think it's to do with how you go and give your best. You know what I mean? Irrespective of the result. Because over a period of time, you're anyway going to get better at what you do because you're on it continuously. You know what I mean? So I think leadership is without title. That's what I feel. And a title should not define your work, your integrity, your honesty, and your whole sincerity towards what you do.
Correct.
In whatever position you are, you got to be sincere and do justice to your presence, to your existence, not to the title.
Right.
What do you think about that?
So that also absolutely fine, Kishore, what you are talking. But also there is one more thing. Sometimes people, it's more about when we talk about leadership. Okay, they feel like they become like a politician.
Yeah.
The difference between a politician and a leader is what? Leader shows with the action.
Yeah.
Okay, and the politician, they speaks. Okay, so all of a sudden, some of the people, they feel like they're talking and they become a leader.
Totally.
So obviously, the way you are talking about that, the leadership without title, obviously that is what the main thing that people has to show with their action. Okay, and their overall attitude, that is the overall attitude towards like on the consistency on their behavior, consistently. It's not going to be like a new toy syndrome, that people just join something or, they are very new in the business or whatever, in wherever you are working. Okay. Just some people become bored, like how you are talking for 23 years, you are here, okay, and you keep on doing the same thing, keep on repeating. A lot of time people get bored. I think that's what the leadership, where the consistency on the behavior, consistency on our attitude, on our punctuality, on even the dressing also. Sometimes people also get dressing, chalo, today I'm not going to wear the tie, okay, or I'm not going to wear the jacket or something, right? Even the consistency on the way you're carrying yourself, everything matters. Okay, and that's what the leadership, I think, on the every prospect, and you don't need any kind of title for that. Okay, it's come from the within. Sometimes people say that leaders are not born; they are just they are transformed. Okay, but I think on this particular thing, I think something which is going to come from the within. Okay, people need to think about, okay, how about if I'm going and setting the pace for other people, right? How about if I'm coming to the office or I'm setting the standards for other people? I think that's what the leadership for me as you're talking.
I agree. And I think you rightly said, there's always, it can be like what came first, chicken or the egg.
Yes.
You can always debate on the fact that, leaders are born or not born or made. But I think the fact that you were born in itself proves that you're a leader.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? Simple as that. Because there was a lot of things in the race and you came out. Correct. You know what I mean? And you're like, I am here, you red card. I achieved it. So I think leadership, as much as we can talk about, maybe some people have it in them or some people, I think it's a lot to do with exposure. First and foremost, I think we all have the potential. We all have a fighting spirit. The fact that you came to the world itself makes you a leader, then what you do after that is up to you. You know, so it's like when you go on the field, you have a choice to quit or you have a choice to continue. All right? You take an observation, you have a choice to judge or prejudge or go, no problem. We will see what happens at the end of the day with this guy.
Right.
You cannot prejudge. So I think leadership also is keeping at it.
Yeah.
Leadership is also about let's do it one more time.
Yeah.
Leadership is pushing on a day-to-day basis. Leadership is going the extra mile. Leadership is not losing our attitude irrespective of the temperament or the behavior of the customer. Not losing your attitude if you've lost your observation or you're not coming through with your observation or a retrain that you take out, but you still continued and said, no problem, it's just one of those days. So it's like the 3 trends of the day, you know, in the business. Like we have sometimes fast morning, slow afternoon, fast evening. It could be whichever way. We have 7-8 hours of the time that we work on the field.
Yeah.
So in that 7-8 hours, you can have 3 trends, 4 trends, 2 trends, 1 trend, doesn't matter. Because the field, when you are out there, you have 1 customer at a time, all right? And then 1 hour at a time. Then you're taking out an observation, 1 or 2 observations at a time. Retrain 1 or 2 at a time. So it's about building those blocks. You know what I mean? So during the day when you're working on the field, you will have different kind of people, behavior, attitude, you know what I mean? People with different temperament, moods. But it's about how you carry on, you know, how you talk, how you don't give up so easily. That's leadership, you know.
Right.
Result is the ultimate thing. We always use this term, which we talk about, that it's not about activity, but it's about productivity. It's not just about going out and working and not creating anything. Yes, you will eventually create, but initial days when you join as a BA, or you're a new trainer, or a new leader, right? At every level, your ability to respond is different because your responsibilities are different. You know what I mean? But keeping at it, having a learning mentality, learning from different people, giving it your best shot. And if it's done, it's done. Then you go to the next day, you know. So it's just about understanding that the business is a long-term proposition. You know, it's like as a BA, you have 8 hours on the field, 7-8 hours. You have 60, 70, 80 customers that you can meet, BA, leader, whatever. So you can decide if you did not have your first 1 hour or 2 hours that exciting, your other, 2-3 hours will be exciting. Similarly, you took out 1 observation and, you hired that guy. Then you took out the next observation. You did not hire that guy, but you don't sit and dwell on it. You carry on. You know what I mean? Because ultimately your actions, your mindset, your attitude and whatever you do will be eventually transformed into the people that are looking up to you, that are following you. You know what I mean? So I think the way the business is, there are different trends that you go through. You know what I mean? And there are different times and different situations. I look at last 1.5 years, what really happened, but we came through, we stuck to it, we tried, we failed, we tried, we came through, we tried something else, failed, or we did not succeed as much, but then we tried again and we came through on it. So I think being in the mix, being in the game is more important. You know what I mean? Being in the game is more important rather than only thinking about whether I'm going to win or I'm going to lose. Being in the game and giving your best shot is more important. What do you think
100%,
about that?
Kishore. And that reminds me, one of the conversation which we are having. And you're talking about when Chris and, Tony, right? When Tony is there in the office and they used to, I think you can explain that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's more about the fact that, it's what you do when nobody's watching is more important than what you do when somebody's watching.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's about your integrity again and your honesty with what you do on a day-to-day basis, right? Without anybody watching. You know what I mean? It's not about the CCTV camera or your bosses watching you, or any of your leader or owner or trainer watching you, or your organization head or your owner watching you, whether you're doing the right thing or not. I think we all have a camera within us, and it's just about doing the right thing, and that's more important. So the episode that Abhishek was just talking about, I remember this is what Tony, obviously, it's a live, it's a true thing where Tony and Chris, where painting the office, in Australia, England, they don't have the luxury, probably that time they didn't have the luxury of people coming, painting. So everything was done by them. And I remember Tony talking about that, how Tony painted all the fire pipes, the fire ducts, those pipes. And then Tony is done, and Tony goes to Chris and goes, it's done. And then Chris gets onto the stool, okay, and checks. And on the top of that fire pipe, which is facing the ceiling, the paint is missing, right? So Tony's like, but Chris, who's going to stand on the stool and look whether it's painted or not? Nobody will know it. And it was a beautiful answer Chris gave. You know it, all right? That you're not painted it, all right? And Tony always talks about that, how that was in his formative years in the business. It was his lesson that he learned, that it's not about who is watching or who's not watching. You know if you've done the right thing or not.
100%.
And I think that's very important.
That's really, and at the same time, people also need to look after the customer service, because when we are talking about leadership over here, so people will follow whatever they're going to watch from their, from their seniors, from their upper levels, or from their leaders. Okay. So on the basis of that, if we are also not going to look after the proper customer service, like sometimes, people just sign the people. They don't look into it, right? And they just block the number, or they maybe just, they sometimes act like, I'm not going to visit your place again. तेरे गली में ना पैर रखेंगे आज के बाद कदम आज के बाद. Okay, so sometimes that is that's very important, because the same thing, people are watching you, whatever your action, I always feel like that someone is watching you. It's also about you. Okay, what is right and what is wrong. But also at the same time, people are watching. People, the people those are associated with you, they're also watching you. So we have to be very careful about the customer service, because as a BA also, I initially I also maybe did that kind of mistake. But at that time when Kishore told me, you're building your business, okay, you're creating a market. So you have to make sure that your face value, it should create a lot of worth. So make sure it's not going to be spoiled. And apart from it, you're a human being. You're not a robot, right? You will not get that proper sleep when you're doing something wrong with other people. Okay. And I think that is very important, that if I'm signing for anything, or, it doesn't matter only for the product, for any other thing, right? If I'm doing the things right, I'll get that peace. Okay. And because of that peace, I can create a lot of other things. Okay. And that's very important as a leader to understand. It's just not we are using the things. We are not going to use the particular things about it. And same thing, sometimes people prejudge. Okay. Sometimes like how as a BA, when we were new, we used to go and, our leaders used to teach us law of average. This is, you have to meet every person, same, every floor, every store, every door. We used to do that. But we never prejudge at that time. Okay. But sometimes, what happened? We even, some people prejudge the customer. At the same time, some people prejudge their observation also. Okay. I still remember like Gopi, right? I think Gopi, Gopi has recruited Vinay, right? Yeah. And I think Vinay got interviewed on one of the owners, right? So one of the owners, right? And that owner, I think, rejected because of, I think maybe he's not confident in English at that time, that person. And that person went to Gopi's office, okay? And Gopi recruited and trained that person, okay? And this person becomes a really good owner. He is a high roller, okay, of the division, and build an organization also, okay. And that is what, that I think at that time, if Gopi also prejudged about that, he's not able to speak, or maybe I can't train that particular person. So I think that's again, that person is going to, get recruited to any other company, right? But that's what we understand at that time, okay, that I don't have to prejudge. I can train this guy. And that is what sometimes we do this kind of mistake, okay, with all, as a leader, okay, we also do the mistake. Sometimes we judge the people with their dressing, sometimes we judge the people with their, vocabulary or communication, or this person cannot speak English, or this person is not confident. I think at that time, what we need to judge, or what we need to talk about, are we capable enough, that I can train this guy, or I can, it's not about training also, it's about, can I add some value in this person's life? That's very important.
True. I agree with that. And I think it's, again, there are certain standards that we have in the business, and obviously we expect a certain quality of guys walking into the business. But again, everybody's not going to be completely ready when they walk in.
Correct.
You know what I mean? they can all be fine-tuned, and they can all be very, trained in a way so that they can become better. So ultimately, and I think the last couple of things that I like to tell, and probably Abhishek can finish the thing, is that what I said in the start of the conversation, that integrity in the business is directly proportionate, all right, or is directly conditioned by your mindset, your mentality, your ambition, your goals, what drives you, your objective of what you're trying to achieve. Because your sincerity, stick-to-itiveness, honesty, integrity in the business, your actions in the business will be defined by how ambitious you are, what you're trying to achieve for yourself, for your career, for your family, what are your dreams and goals in life. So for that, it's very, very important to have that kind of mindset, and that will automatically lead you to be an absolute sincere individual towards what you do on a day-to-day basis in the company. You know what I'm talking about? Because motivation of an individual, again, is directly responsible from the goals they have or what they're trying to achieve in life, And as an owner, as a leader, as an organization head, we all have respective responsibilities. Again, not about the title. It is just the responsibility that you have, and we should justify it. And that's very, very important. You know what I mean? So irrespective whether you're a BA or you're an org head, vice president, country head, we all have, as I said, without the title, we have a certain responsibility, and we need to come through on it, set the right example so we can inject the right mentality. That will lead to the individual's integrity towards the business, individual's discipline and sincerity towards the company.
100%, Kishore, I agree. And that's, and that was, I was just thinking, our yesterday's conversation, when you're talking about, there are some activities happening in your, at your gym, right?
Yeah.
How the people, because what I understand, Kishore, this is a people's business, right? And every company, if I'm not talking about our company only, every company is, it's a people's business. How you're going to look after your people? Okay, what's your perception? How you're looking at your people? Are you just hiring a people and looking like they're money-making machines? Or, they are just another criteria. A lot of time people, I've observed a lot. So some people are like, "Arey, this is my criteria." Sometimes this is my 1 lakh rupees. 1 BA is equal to, we used to say 1 lakh rupees in a year. Right. So how you look into it? Or on the other part, are you looking at like, what value I'm going to add on this particular person's life? Okay.
Absolutely.
How I'm going to help them to get into another level. That thinking, that mindset is very important for a leader.
Yeah.
Okay. And that mindset is very important as a leader, And I think that's what, I'm again coming to the first point where we started from. That's what the organic growth, right? That's what it's all about. How you upbringing, what kind of upbringing you got it from the family.
Absolutely.
What kind of people you got associated with, right? Sure. And that's very important that we need to understand. See, sometimes it's not like everything you will get it from the family.
True.
I still remember our coach, Mr. Dheeraj Bhatkar, what he talked about. You cannot choose your family, but you can choose your friends.
True.
You can choose your people, those who are going to be around, right?
Absolutely.
And that's in our hand. Like if we get associated with all the drunkards or the smokers, right? We become like that, right? It's like if you're going to get associated with the successful people, we are also going to become like that.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I think that's what the leadership and that's what the focus we are talking about. Okay. Yeah. But at the end, guys, we are going to end up with this particular line, but I just want you to tell you this, that whatever happened, okay, either you can be a warning for a people or you can be an example. Okay. You can be a warning, like example in your family also, that I have listened. When people are talking about, see, आपको इसके जैसे बनना, I'm just talking in Hindi about this, आप इसके जैसे बनना चाहते हो या इसके जैसे नहीं बनना चाहते हो, आपके फैमिली दोनों एग्जांपल देंगे, दूसरों के फैमिली वो भी यही एग्जांपल देंगे कि इसकी तरह बनना है या इसकी तरह नहीं बनना है. Same thing, this is totally on us. What you want to do, your peoples are watching, your family is watching, your friends are watching, your community is watching, everyone is watching you, right? But what you're going to do, are you going to set a warning for them, or you can be an example for them?
Beautifully said, beautifully. And that's, I think, again, something that starts from the beginning in the business, when you start as an executive, as a BA, and how you become that example, you know what I mean? And eventually, what you get into and how you progress in the business is defined by how you start in the business and how you carry on from there. If you have a learning mentality, if you have a student mentality, we say don't be a follower, but be a good student.
Correct.
Because if you're a good student, you become a good trainer and a teacher. You know what I mean? It's just not about being a follower. It's about being a good student so you can learn everything, implement, and eventually impart the same knowledge and training to the people on your team over a period of time. So that is, and then like what you just said, beautifully explained that either you can be a warning or you can be example. The choice is yours. And I always say it doesn't matter how you were born or to who you were born. What matters is how you want to live. And it's completely in your hands.
True.
Right? So that's it from me.
And that's it from me, my side. Thank you so much, Rohit.
Any questions from anyone?
All right. Perfect. So I have, thank you, Kishore. Thank you, Abhishek. So I have a question now. In this whole conversation, we heard a lot about the positive impacts that people, actions that can actually affect people, in the business, and like you said, rightly said, the designation doesn't define leadership; it comes at all levels, etc. So if I had to give now on the opposite side, if you could just give me an example of leadership traits that could negatively affect your people. So if you could give me some example, things you can avoid, whether it's how you speak or whether it's how you behave in front of people. Sometimes it could be like if somebody does something wrong, how do you react to it? So if you could give us examples of what not to do.
I think we would rather talk about consistency. Yesterday we were discussing about consistency in behavior.
Right.
So
consistency in behavior.
Abhishek can talk about consistency in behavior.
Yeah. So that is what. And one thing before that, I think Rohit, nowadays in the new culture which we have now, I think people don't like bosses in the company, right? The boss where people always command. You have to do this. See, there is two things.
Correct.
One is a delegating. Okay, delegating is okay. Let me show you how you're going to do this. Okay. And once you're just going to direct the people or dictate the people, okay, about that, how you have to do this, okay, or do that, or you have to just, whatever you have to do with this. I think this is a time where we have to be a leader instead of being a boss, okay, because nowadays people are understanding. Second thing, I think people have to be very aware about what they were talking, okay. It's going to be very important what you're going to talking, okay, because sometimes people, I have seen like in other companies, they abuse their employees also, right? They don't respect. Okay, so I think that is also very important that you have to respect. If you want respect, then also respect other people at the same time. That's very important. So I think this is what the consistency in behavior. Okay, like because whatever you're going to do, your guys are going to watch. Okay, and they will implement to other people, and that's how they'll spoil the entire organization. That reminds Mr. The Cyrus from Tata Group.
Yeah.
How Mr. Ratan Tata, okay, has given the opportunity to Cyrus, okay, Mr. Cyrus, right? So, and all of a sudden he has taken it the back because he can't see that leadership. He can see there is a boss. Okay, I hope you guys are aware about it. Like they have started taking out the people those have completed the age of 50 or 50 plus, right? And Mr. Ratan Tata is like, we used to know about he's a person of man of ethics, right? And he was like, hello, a person who can serve to the company for more than 20, 25 years or 30 years, how you can throw that person to the out? I understand you can take the young blood in the business, but you cannot throw the experienced people out. Okay. And that's what the mentality. So that's what that's what the difference between a leader and a boss. Okay. So I think that's what I want to say. I want to answer like that.
Yeah. And moreover, I think like what you said, basically one of the things, like the business, all right? It is a sales and marketing business, all right? We are all glorified business associates or leaders.
Correct.
Whether you're an owner or head, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, the roots of the business is something that we should never forget, all right? Sure. Ground zero is something that we should not forget. I still remember one of the clients that we started, Tony was the first person to get out there on the field. All right, and it's one of our charity clients. We started UNICEF, and me, Tony, Sai, organization heads in the charity division, we were the first people out. You know what I mean? In spite of the years that we had spent in the business. So I think one is the fact that if your business, you know that your business needs you, so you need to work. I always say you need to work in your business and you need to work on your business. Okay. If you're basically business needs more people, then you need to recruit more people. Now, whether basically you do in-house trainings or take them out of the field for observation, whether you basically take them, whether you basically go with your leader, trainer, and take out observations, take out retrains, or whether you basically do a lot of in-house sales trainings, whatever is required for your business is what you need to do. You know what I mean? So what you don't do right is usually the opposite. You know what I mean? I only define things normal, abnormal. Right? Breathing in oxygen, normal. Breathing in carbon dioxide, abnormal. Right? Making profit, normal. Not making profit, abnormal. Right? Only working to pay expenses, abnormal. Right? Working in the business to pay expenses, make profits, and lead a good life and keep improvising. Right? That's normal. You know what I mean? Taking our observation, retrain to build a team, normal. Just taking our observation, retrain to waste them, not nice. You know what I mean? So I think we're all intelligent enough to understand what is right, what is wrong. The business works because of sales and marketing. Business works because there's profits coming in, right? And profit only comes from customer acquisition or acquiring customers or people in the market. Depends on what portfolios you're dealing with. So when you know that your business needs you to be out there and acquire customers, you got to do it. You know your business needs more people, you need to do that. You know basically you need to sit with your HR admin and work out your recruitment if that's affected, you need to do that. If you know you need to network with people who are doing well, you know what I mean? Like you always say, you know, it's money in the bank that is more important, not the ego in your heart. So ultimately what really matters is what you do when you know it. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people have questions, you know, and they ask like, okay, what do I do with this? How is this supposed to be done? How is that supposed to be done? I'm trying to recruit, it's not happening. I'm trying to do sales, not happening. But most of the answers people have within themselves. But somehow they expect some magical answer. You know, something that basically some shortcut will work out. No, it won't. If after 23 years, I still understand the importance of building a business and building another organization after doing it for so many years in so many different parts of the country, I mean, I think it's just about what you know in your heart, what is right. You know what I mean? So being that example. So if you know you have to get on the field, get on the field. If you think you want to build from the office, do in-house, do that. If you know you need to recruit more people, do that. You know customer service is an issue, you need to work on it, do it. Shortcuts don't last a long time. You know what I mean? The longevity in the business and the time that you spend in the business and ultimately what you do over a period of time is a lot to do with how you introspect on a day-to-day basis and how you carry on. You know, and that's what is very, very important. You know what I'm talking about? So if you know coming to the office on time is important, then you have to get to the office on time. You know, if you have to take out observation, you got to take out observation. You got to take out retrain, you got to take out retrain. You have to do certain trainings in the office, you got to do your trainings in the office. You got to basically go out and high road, you got to go out and high road. Whatever is required needs to be done. And if it's not done, it's wrong. So it's not about what is wrong. I think what is not right is eventually wrong. Simple as that.
Correct.
Yeah. Any others?
All right, perfect.
That's it.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Kishore. Thank you so much, Abhishek. So we're going to just spend the next 5 minutes in, if people have questions to, for Abhishek and Kishore, you can just drop in in the comment. You can write your questions and they'll be happy to answer them. So actually, so while we wait for the questions, I was seeing some page today on my Instagram. It was kind of memes, you know. It's about it's basically to do with, you know, how Abhishek said, you know, what people see they follow, correct? So you know, and you know, like he said, you know, do you like parent family gives an example of do you want to be like him or do you don't want to be like him, correct? So I was reading this, you know, so it's like how you behave in front of your children, correct? Ultimately, you know, they turn out to be that way. And as another thing, it comes to punishment. Like if you feel the need. So, if, for example, like if somebody does something wrong or doesn't do sale in the business, the more you pull them up in front of everybody in the office, what's going to happen is they're going to start lying. They're going to start avoiding. You know, they're going to be like they will give you false. I spoke to 16 people, 20 people, 25 people, while they have not done so much. So it also matters, you know, it's the kind of examples that you said of, you know, whether in terms of, you know, if you pull them out too often, you know, rather than speak to them nicely and understand what the issue was, just going out at him, you know, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, is this what you're coming here for, blah, blah, blah. And so that kind of thing. So I was reading this, that was very interesting. There was a lot of things. It's about how children, people lying. It comes to, hiding things, or it comes to basically, uh, you know, uh, throwing a tantrum. Because if you don't get attention, then you will do other things to get attention, or you will
Correct.
do
100%.
wrong things to get attention. So that's very interesting. Something that I saw, and I think it applies to the business as well. Especially I remember when I was in this business, a lot of people don't know that when I was in the business, the observation went really great. Post observations, you sometimes have leaders, you sometimes have, your team leaders who work with you. That's where the integrity comes to question, because I saw him do things like, hold on to a deal. Why? Because the next month he could put it there and then earn that thing. So it also says, okay, if my leader is doing it, why can't I do it?
I do it.
If
True,
he can
true.
if he can say something like this and get a deal, irrespective of not keeping people's, and while you consider your own commitments, etc., you also have to be aware of the customers require, understand feelings and emotions as well. Because I've seen a lot of people lie. If people that didn't have the money to give in, well, somehow tricked into like, this is good for you, that is good for you, whether it's somebody who's an elderly or a pensioner. So I think those examples, also play a very important. Okay, theek hai na, it happens in the business, correct?
True. Absolutely
And
right.
those are things that you need to really avoid, and that's, I think, if it comes from the top, to see people doing things at the 100% right way, it'll flow all the way to the bottom.
Completely. Absolutely right. And I think it's about realizing that, the business is here for since 1998, and we've gone through a lot of situations over the years. All right. And the latest one was the pandemic that we all experienced and the lockdown and everything that happened. But I think, you know what? They say that in a very Hindi, very, very famous quote in Hindi is Jab jago tab savera.
Correct.
Right? So
Correct.
if you basically, you get up like another day, another dollar, you get up in the morning, okay, and you want to change the way you want to do things, you can change it. You know what I mean? So you don't need to dwell in the past. You don't need to basically dwell. You can always use your references of the past. You know what I mean? When you've done well, you can take that as a reference to fuel your ambition and drive yourself. And similarly, if you've done badly and you know the reasons of why you've done badly or the things that you did not do right, you can correct that also. You know what I mean? So I think it's only a matter of introspecting, you know what I mean? Self-reflecting, on a day-to-day basis. That, okay, fine, how I can? Because sometimes what happens is because of today's, social media and there are too many things going on. Sometimes it's a chaos and you're too distracted with everything that's going on. But I think if you spend 10, 15 minutes every evening or every night before you go to sleep and go, okay, how can I make tomorrow better than today?
Correct.
What are the things that I did today? I could have done it in a better way and
I can make it
work
better.
towards changing it. You know what I mean? And I think that is because in 23 years, whether it's me or other people who have spent good amount of time in the company, we've all had our ups and downs. We all had our things that we did right and things that we did wrong. Things that we did right without knowing and things that we did right intentionally. Things that we did wrong unintentionally or intentionally at times. You know what I mean? But I think it's only about looking at every day as it comes. Okay? And you can change your situation today. As of now, you can change your situation. So if you're somebody who already has the experience in the business, use that experience and use your today's opportunity to make a difference. How are you going to go on the field? How are you going to make the best out of it? How are you going to train your person in the best possible manner? How are you going to give your best when it comes to doing your interview? Everything that you do, I think if you're consciously aware, you will be able to do the best. And that's very important. You know what I'm talking about? So I think, yes, that's where, we need to head towards now, working towards consistently being consciously aware and making things right for ourselves.
Agree.
So I have this one question that's come from. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So this question that's come from Vaibhav, who asked, "What is the best or the ideal way to grow in the business?"
I think being connected to ground zero is what I understand as basically that's what I learned from my leaders. That, if you remind yourself where you come from, right, and you respect and take pride in what you do, whether it is sales and marketing on the field, whether it's talking to the new people, whether you're doing your interviews, whether you're training your people, if you are connecting to the basics and fundamentals of the business consistently, right? Like I always say that you are in your purest form when you're doing your criteria to become an owner.
Correct.
You're in your purest form because you want to do everything right. You're a high roller, you're training, you're taking observation, you're retraining. So if you remind yourself about that, you know, of what you did to get into the position that you are, you will always keep progressing. You know what I mean? So being connected to ground zero, being connected to the basics is what I feel, you know, and that's where to remind myself of where I come from is why I go on the field, all right, and deal with customers in different market segments, work with my 21, 22, 23-year-olds to only remind myself that I was 23 once when I started in this company and somebody trained me, you know, to reach the position I am in today.
100%.
So,
Totally
yeah.
agree. Totally agree. Because, and there's one more thing on addition, you have to be honest, okay? Honest with yourself and honest with other people also. You have to be very honest with you, okay? And just make sure that, you know, we are connecting with the ground zero and, you know, we just work towards it and just put your, you know, hat down always, okay? Don't be like, you know, get into that ego, okay? Controlling your brain or controlling your mind. That's what.
Yeah. Anything else, Rohit, or anybody else?
All right, perfect. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for doing this with us. I think we're almost run out of time now, but it was great catching up with both of you all.
Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you so much once again, and we look forward to having you all again sometime later on Let's Talk Business all over again.
Great,
Sure.
no problem. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, everybody, for attending this.
Thank you so much, guys.
And moreover, I think the way this whole thing was, it was also a lot of reminder for us, irrespective of the time that we have spent in the business or irrespective of our respective positions. I think there's so much of a learning that we had as we spoke, all right, and as we were thinking about it. So thank you, Rohit, and thanks, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rohit.
Let's build India. Guys, let's build India. All the very best. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Rohit.
Abhishek. Thanks, Kishore.
I just want to say
All right.
thank you to QSL.
All right.
and
Thank you so
Rohit.
much, guys. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you all soon for the very next episode. We will keep you updated. So please follow our pages. Please follow Cosmos and Pioneers on Instagram and Facebook. Check out what they're doing, what they're up to, and also keep in touch with us. Do let us know how you like this live. Your suggestions. They're open to all kinds of suggestions, etc. Let us know whom you would want to listen to as well. Until then, everybody take care. Have a good day, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Abhishek.
Kishore.
Thank you
Thanks.
for sharing the panel. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.